Corel's opening production for this year. This evening we present a comedy thriller by Peter Gordon, lampooning Agatha Christie's mystery plays. The action of the play takes place in an English manor house. The time is the 1930s. Our guest director for this production, I hope she's out here somewhere. There she is. Dawn Richmond. That's everyone proudly presents Murdered to Death.
Absolutely sure dinner will be ready, Dorothy.
Of course. I'm in the kitchen burning it for most of the day.
It's just that I so rarely have people for dinner these days.
Well, to prefer mutton, actually.
Pardon, dear?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought you spoke. Oh, would you close the curtains, dear? It's so cold in here.
Absolutely. Love to. Got nothing better to do.
I'll have to get Bunting to bring some more bulbs in.
No, Auntie, no, that's the elephant!
What, dear? Oh dear, how careless of me. Is it damaged?
Well, it's a little scorched down one side, but I think it'll survive. You
dear.
ought to start wearing your spectacles more often, and we wouldn't have little accidents like this, would we?
Oh no, I couldn't possibly. They make me look old. Of course, I am getting old, but at least without the spectacles, I can't see that I am. Colonel Craddock gave me that elephant, you know, a present from India.
Yes, well, they're meant to be unlucky with their trunks down. That one was really very unlucky. There's no more logs left. I'll send Bunting if I can find him.
Oh, what do you mean, dear?
It gives me the shivers creeping around the place, lurking in dark corners. I never know where he's going to leap out from next.
Oh, don't exaggerate, Dorothy. Bunting never leaps. He's not capable of it.
Yes, well, he definitely lurks. Can't understand why you keep him on.
Bunting? Well, it's practically an institution. Couldn't possibly let him go. No, I was so sure dinner will be ready.
Yes, of course it is. Oh, great.
I'm sorry to keep going on about it, Dorothy, but it's so important to me, dear. Oh, it's going to be marvellous having a house full of guests again. Just like the old days. Must be almost 2 years since we were all together in Paris. Do you remember that holiday? Oh, happy days. Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing the Colonel again. And Pierre, of course. Oh, such a charming young man. Made me feel years younger. Perhaps it was just the Paris air. Oh, do hurry up and fetch Bunting, dear.
No!
Ah! Bunting, I do wish you'd announce yourself at the door. And put that axe down. You look like a madman.
I can't chop logs without it, ma'am. I'm not an exponent of the martial arts.
There's no need to carry it everywhere. Just put a log on the fire and leave the rest by the side.
I only bought the one, ma'am. It was rather heavy.
Really, Bunting, I don't know why I bother.
Didn't realise you did, ma'am.
Just put a log on the fire, Bunting.
Very good, ma'am. As you wish. Will there be anything else, ma'am?
I expect the guests will be arriving shortly. I suggest you station yourself at the front door so they don't have to wait for 10 minutes.
By the front door, ma'am. As you like.
And we'll be wanting sherry when they've all arrived.
Sherry, ma'am. As you like. Oh, will that be the best sherry, ma'am, or the cooking?
Really, Bunting, I don't know what's got into you these days. The best, of course.
Well, I only asked, ma'am, because there's very little of the best left. Half the bottle.
What? We only recently restocked.
You must have drunk it, ma'am.
What? What did you say, Bunting?
I said you must have drunk it, ma'am.
Really, Bunting? I think it's time you were reminded of your position in this house.
I'm sorry if I don't give satisfaction, ma'am.
It's not a question of satisfaction. I just don't expect you to answer back. Is that clear?
I shall try and curb my natural exuberant manner, ma'am. Will that be all?
Yes, it will. Reorder more sherry next week.
ma'am. As you like.
Door, Bunty! I need to agree with you about bunting. It's becoming insufferable.
I found him trying to chop logs in the kitchen, I ask you. With all that food around.
Oh, dear.
Oh, don't worry. He very rarely manages the heating.
We shall have to keep our eye on him. He's started on the sherry again.
No. I thought we'd weaned him off that after the last episode.
If he goes missing again, at least we'll know where to find him.
You'd think a man of his age would have more sense. I mean, he nearly died of exposure in a fish pond. Oh, incidentally, I heard some gossip about him in the village.
Gossip?
Yes, apparently he's been telling someone in the pub about his lurid past, an affair that he had with some woman years ago.
Oh, gossip? Oh, I'm sure he must be exaggerating. Seems highly unlikely to me. I mean, who would want him?
Shall I go?
Oh, at last! I thought they were never going to arrive.
I'll
No,
go.
Bunting can go. Let him earn his keep for once. Do I look presentable, dear?
Yes, don't worry, you look fine. You just have a good enjoy your weekend with your friends.
Oh, Dorothy, thank you for organising everything. I don't know how I managed without you.
Bunting, ma'am.
What do you mean? Where are the guests?
You instructed me to announce myself at all times, ma'am.
Not when there are guests to announce. Let them in immediately.
As you like.
Thank you, Bunting. Mildred, how nice to see you again.
Mildred, old girl. Hi, my dear. Let's have a look at you. By Jove, you look younger every time I see you.
Really, Charles?
Oh, and how's young Dorothy? Still keeping an eye on your battle axe, eh? Marvellous.
Colonel and Mrs. Craddock, ma'am.
Pardon?
I said Colonel and Mrs. Craddock, ma'am.
Bunting, you announce the guests as they arrive, not 5 minutes later.
They didn't give me the chance, ma'am. Will that be all?
Yes, thank you, Bunting. Take the bags up to the green bedroom, would you?
To the green room.
Yeah.
Very good, ma'am.
And,
As you like.
I expect more guests will be arriving shortly.
I expect you'll want me to position myself by the front door again, so they don't have to wait.
Door, Bunting. I'm sorry. You'll just have to forgive Bunting. He's just not himself these days.
Bunting, Bunting. Sure I've seen him somewhere. Never forget a chap's face.
Of course you've seen him before, Charles. You've been here before.
Have I? Oh, yes, of course I have. Peculiar fellow, though.
Of course, Margaret, this is your first visit here.
Yes, and I must say that I'm very impressed. The grounds seem to be huge.
Oh, 7 acres. Of course, the estate is several thousand acres, but it's all rented out to local farmers these days. Oh, do sit, please. Charles?
What? Oh, sorry, miles away. Still trying to place that queer chap. Never forget a face. Only the other day, I saw a chap I hadn't come across in years. Recognised him at once. Why, beat the old boy. I said, howdy, keep. Chap was absolutely amazed.
That you'd recognised him.
Oh, good Lord, no. Said he'd never seen me before in his life. Quite amusing. Seemed to object to being called Beaky. Bit of an odd chap as it turned out.
You're not going to bore us with pointless stories all weekend, Charles.
Oh, sorry, old girl, just a spot of fun.
He wouldn't be the same old Charles without his little stories. I find them rather amusing.
But you don't hear them as often as I.
Would either of you care for a sherry?
Not for me.
Oh, you know me, ready for a snifter at any time. As long as the sun's over the yard arm, of course.
Dorothy, dear, would you call Bunting?
It's all right, Auntie. I don't think he'd cope with any more jobs at the moment.
Delightful young girl. If I were 30 years younger.
But you're not, Charles. Must be rather nice for you having a young person about the house.
Oh, yes, it is. I wonder how she puts up with me sometimes. I get so irritable these days.
It's old age, comes to us all. Take Margaret here. Just a bit of a joke, old girl.
I'm really very grateful to Dorothy. There are times when I think she should be off with people her own age, but I intend to see that she's very well rewarded.
Really?
None of us live forever. When I'm gone, Dorothy will benefit most handsomely. I have no other relatives now.
But I thought you had other relatives.
No, I've seen them all off.
Oh, come on now. All this morbid talk's getting me depressed. Did I ever tell you about the time that I was
Oh,
wandering
I'm
through
sorry it took so long. Bunting had hidden it.
Still can't place that chap. It's damn irritating.
Well, I shouldn't let it bother you, Charles. You were about to tell us one of your little stories.
Was I? Don't suppose you recollect what it was all about. Dashed if I can remember. Still, it'll come to me later.
Yes.
Thank you. Well,
Oh, thank you.
here's to us all, the very best of health.
Cheers.
Don't seem to make sherry glass so large these days.
Well, help yourself, Charles.
Well, I wasn't suggesting, but still, if you insist.
If you'll excuse me, Mildred, I'd like to freshen up. It's such an exhausting drive down here, especially with Charles at the wheel.
I'll show you to your room, Mrs. Craddock.
Oh, no need to trouble yourself, dear. I'll ask Bunting. Excuse me.
Of course. Well, you've still got the old banner then, Charles.
What? Margaret, yes, afraid so.
I meant the car.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, but it's not a banger, it's a Bentley. Couldn't be without her, you know. Still, take your point. She's getting a bit temperamental in her old age. Still, so's Margaret, come to that.
I'd better check the dinner. Is there anything else you would want, Auntie?
No, thank you, dear. Well, Charles, how have you been?
Oh, not bad, you know. Lots of stick from Margaret. She seems to think I spend too much time at the club. Can't understand her. A chap needs a company of other chaps. Know where you stand with chaps.
Stop rambling, Charles. You know what I mean. When are you going to take me up on my little proposition?
Oh, steady, old girl. You're putting me in a dashed awkward spot.
You remember, Charles, 30 years ago?
Of course I do. It was over yesterday. 1906. Kent won the county championship.
The year we met. The year our affair started.
That, yes. Damn long time ago. A lot of water under the bridge and all that.
And every year you've been promising next year, the year after that.
Oh, but we're getting too long in the tooth for all that sort of stuff now, Mildred. A chap tends to slow down a bit.
Oh, I don't expect it to be still the mad, passionate thing. All I want is you, your company, your companionship. I'm not asking for the world. I just want you here with me.
What about Margaret? I can't let the old girl down. Not after all these years.
Oh, you've never loved each other, not like we did. Like we still do. Oh, we should have taken a plunge years ago.
Well, that's just the trouble, old girl. We've left it too late. Yes, there was a time after your Albert died that we might have made a go of it, but not now. We're too set in our ways. And Margaret depends on me too much.
You're wrong, Charles. You belong here with me. I'll never let you go until the day I die.
Dash it all, Mildred. This has got to stop. All these letters you keep sending me at the club. Damn embarrassing for a chap when his mail stinks of perfume. Other chaps are starting to talk. Bad form, won't do, got away.
You're all I've got left. If I were to tell Margaret about us,
You wouldn't do that, would you, Mildred?
I think it's time she knew.
Mildred,
This
old girl.
weekend.
Think what you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to barge in.
Come on in, Dorothy. I was just telling Charles I think Margaret ought to know.
Mildred!
I think she'd be amused, don't you, Charles? About my little accident with the elephant.
What? Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, that? Yes, well, rescued her just in time. It would have been a terrible mess.
Yes, I expect they would. Tricky beast. Came across a lot in India, you know.
Another guest.
I'll go, Auntie. I think Bunting's still upstairs, sort of sliding down the banisters, little piggy me.
No, dear, you do too much running around. I'll go myself. I shan't be a moment, Charles.
Are you all right, Colonel?
What?
You look rather pale.
Oh, no, just a spot of mental indigestion. A bit of a problem cropped up. Still, nothing comes, right? Other guests, do I know her?
Yes, you do. They were in Paris. Pierre Marceau and Elizabeth Hartley Trumpington.
Marceau. No recollection whatsoever. Foreign chap, is he?
He's French. You don't remember Elizabeth either?
Ah, now that's a different matter. Pretty girl.
Yeah, that's her.
Rather well endowed, as I recall. In the financial sense, of course. Enormous assets.
You remember Dorothy and the Colonel?
Colonel Cranach, I'm absolutely stupid to see you again.
What a lovely little lounge, Mrs. Bagshot. So quaint. Thank you, Elizabeth. I didn't expect you and Pierre to arrive together.
Tremendous stroke of luck. I just sat on the train with a boring old book when Pierre got into the very same compartment.
I have the happy knack of always winding up in the company of the beautiful woman.
He's been talking like that the whole way. Certainly has brightened up the journey.
So tedious passing through all those horrid industrial areas where the working people live. Quite ghastly.
Oh, just right, of course. I've got an eye for a pretty young gal myself.
Well, one tries one's best to look presentable.
Yes, I expect one has to.
Oh, why, Dorothy, darling, I hadn't noticed you there. And how nice. You're wearing that lovely little frock I so admired in Paris all those years ago. Do sit down, please. Would anyone care for a sherry?
Wouldn't say no, old girl.
Dorothy, would you be so kind?
So, what brings you over here, Mr. Old chap?
Surely you remember Charles? Pierre's a painter.
Oh, yes, of course. Thought the old place looked in need of a coat or two. What?
I come here to sell some paintings, I hope. I will stay 2 or 3 weeks, depending on my success.
Ah, right. Get your meaning.
He's an absolute genius. Absolutely super.
You flatter me, Elizabeth. I make my money on other people's work. How you say, dile wire.
Oh, I simply don't know how he can drag himself away from Paris. Absolutely super little town.
Passable. Don't care much for that enormous iron erection. Damn civilized licensing hours, of course.
And the fashions. I have to go to Paris at least twice a year for the fashions. One can't go around in rags. Can one, Dorothy?
Fashions? Can't see the fuss. All a waste of time, if you ask me.
But Colonel, if you will forgive me, that is the problem with you British. No daring, no sense of adventure.
No lack of daring in the British, old boy. Agincourt, Waterloo. Get my point? No good you chaps wearing fancy hats if you keep getting them shot off.
Oh, please, Charles, let's not fall out.
I'm just making a point.
I am sorry, I have offended you. I withdraw my words.
Tactical retreat, eh? Now that's a thing you chaps are good at.
Bunting, Mum.
Yes, Bunty.
I was wondering if I might have a word, Mum.
Carry on.
Very well, Mum.
Where are you going?
To carry on, Mum, as you instruct.
I meant carry on and tell me.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant for me to carry on with my duties, Mum. You usually tell me to carry on when you want me to carry on.
What was it you wanted to tell me?
It's about the accident, Mum.
Accident?
In the kitchen, Mum, with the axe. The head flew off at some speed.
I'll be in a moment, Bunting.
Nice line.
There we are. Well, I think we should all make plans for the weekend. Any suggestions?
Well, I thought I might get a spot of shooting in. They're good sport round here, as I remember. Don't suppose you shoot, do you, Mr. Old Boy?
I prefer to create rather than destroy. I would not know one end of a gun from another.
Oh, well, never mind, old chap. You are French, quite understandable.
Yes, Bunty. Was there something else?
I was wondering if you might want me to take action in the meantime.
About what?
The fire, ma'am.
Well, it looks all right at the moment, Bunty, and you can bring some more logs in later.
I meant the fire in the kitchen, ma'am.
We haven't got a fire in the kitchen.
We have now, ma'am.
What?
Oh, just a small one, on the stove, small at present, although dinner is beginning to look somewhat overdone.
Well, just don't stand there, Bunty. Help!
National line.
I just knew something was going to go wrong today. I just knew.
Oh, don't worry, old girl. I'm sure everything will turn out shipshape. Extraordinary chap you've got there. Was going to borrow him for the shoot. Got second thoughts now. Damn liability.
I was wondering if I might be able to accompany you, Colonel. I've always wanted to have a go, but Daddy said it's far too dangerous for a gal.
Oh, quite welcome, my dear. No danger if you know what you're up to. Make an early start, eh? Ravalli at 0600.
You can't possibly mean 6 o'clock in the morning.
Of course I do. Early bird and all that sort of business. You'll need stout shoes and old clothes.
Ghastly, I haven't got anything like that.
I'm sure Dorothy will be able to lend you something.
Yes, I'm sure she will. I hope nobody's going to see me.
Well, if they do, we just have to shoot them. Dead men don't tell tales. Fancy a stroll now before dinner? Recce the ground.
Oh, what a great idea. How about you, Pierre?
If you excuse me, I will wait here. I'm still tired from my travels.
Oh, are you sure?
Do not concern yourself for me. I am quite happy here.
Oh, come on, Mildred. We can't force the chap.
Very well.
I suppose we'd better see if Margaret wants to come with us.
We shan't be long, Pierre. Help yourself to a drink.
Rather, dear.
Get up and have a tie. I think you should really live.
Where is everyone?
They have come for a walk. You have prepared the dinner.
Oh yes, well it's not quite the same as it was still. No one will know the difference. Just taking a leaf out of your book.
I have no book.
No, but you were admiring your paintings.
Ah, yes, the paintings. But they are not mine. I only wish I had determined to paint these.
Oh, you're far too modest. The work of a famous French painter, you said when you sold them to my aunt.
But of course, and it'll be worth many times the price that your aunt paid.
Yes, I'm sure the originals will. It's such a pity they didn't afford you.
But Dorothy, you were there when your aunt bought them. We had them valued by another gallery.
And then you replaced the originals with your forgeries. You knew my aunt was ignorant what, she'd never know the difference.
Dorothy, never have I heard such a cock and cow story. Elizabeth will vouch for me. Many times I've had dealings with her father.
I don't care tuppence if you swindled Elizabeth or her father. You think I'm a fool, Pierre? I may not have an eye for art, but I have a very good eye for detail.
You're making a very big mistake, Dorothy. These are the originals.
In that case, you wouldn't mind if I call the police.
You're wasting your time. You will look very foolish. Your aunt will never forgive you.
I just have to miss that.
Stop, wait. Put down the phone. Perhaps we shall talk a little more.
So I'm right. Good. I wasn't quite sure. Take my advice, Pierre. Don't ever play poker. You do very badly.
So you have tricked me. What happens now?
Well, it all depends on you. I'm not a vindictive person. Let's assume that this is your first offence.
But it is, I swear.
You shouldn't. It's a very bad habit. My aunt paid you, how much? £2,000?
I did a special price. I did it for 1,900.
Well, you're all heart. I suppose for £5,000 I couldn't have a lapse of memory about this conversation.
£5,000? I do not have £5,000.
Oh dear. Well, I don't want to cause you any embarrassment, Pierre. And seeing that you were so generous, I'm going to give you a special discount. 4,900. You've got a week, and then I go to the police.
A week? A week is far too short.
Well, that's all you've got. Oh, you're lucky, Pierre. If my aunt ever found out about this, she wouldn't be so understanding.
But the man we all thought you were. It's far too cold out there.
Yes, well, I think Pierre's finding it rather hot in here.
Really? We'll remove your vest if you wish. There is no need to stand on ceremony amongst friends. The others have all gone to change for dinner. Dinner will be all right, Dorothy.
Yes, it's going to be fine.
Well, Pierre, you will have noticed that the painting's a private place. Or they do so cheer up the room.
Ah, yes, the paintings.
Oh, I'm so pleased you have persuaded me to invest. I know I've only had them a short time, but how much would you say they're worth now?
About 2 years, I'd expect.
Yes.
I said that you've had them for about 2 years. Well, Pierre, how much?
Well, it is hard to say, but I would say about £5,000.
Really? That much? Oh, you see, Dorothy, I knew I had a bargain. She's never really liked it, you know.
No, but I am beginning to see their good points now.
And how many paintings have you bought for me to look at this time, Pierre?
Oh, I'm afraid I have none.
Surely, your luggage in the hall.
My regrets. They are not for you. They are already sold.
Not to anyone I know.
Thankfully, Dorothy, no.
Yeah, what pity.
Oh, now, how can that be? I'm not expecting any more guests.
Shall I go?
No, we're cutting out his keep for once. I'm definitely starting to have reservations about him.
Well, you should have seen the state of the kitchen. It looked like a battle had been fought in there.
Bunting, ma'am.
Yes, Martin, who is it?
Bunting, ma'am, I just told you.
Who is it at the door?
Miss Maple, ma'am. I observed her through the conservatory window.
You mean you haven't opened the door yet?
I thought you may wish to ignore her, ma'am. I have heard you say on several occasions that she's an interfering busybody.
Really, Martin. You'd better let her in.
Very good, ma'am. There's the line.
You could have ignored her. She might go away.
Do that. She means very well. She lives down in the village, you know. I mean, she's actually there. She's always off on holidays and visits and things. But the curious thing is, wherever she goes, the most dreadful things seem to happen. Someone always seems to get murdered.
Well, they drop like flies. I mean, she's become quite famous for it.
Well, in that case, Dorothy, we'll have to be very careful, shan't we?
Bunting, ma'am.
Just get on with it, Bunting.
Very well, ma'am. As you like. Miss Maple, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Bunting. Oh, Mildred, I do hope you don't mind me dropping in like this. I didn't realize you had visitors.
That's quite all right, Joan. You didn't notice Colonel Craddock's car in the drive?
A car? Oh, yes, yes. Oh, how very nice to meet you, Colonel.
Oh, no. This is Pierre Marcel, another one of my guests.
I see. How silly of me. Oh, it's nice to meet you, monsieur.
Enchanté. I am very pleased to meet you also. But if you ladies will excuse me, I must prepare myself for dinner.
Well, Pierre, you sound like a turkey waiting to be stuffed.
Excuse me, ladies.
Oh, charming young man. His accent rather reminds me of a Belgian gentleman I know. You have several guests staying?
Just a few friends for the weekend.
Oh, how charming. I do so love a party. And I can't help noticing the delightful aroma emanating from the kitchen. I expect you've excelled yourself, Dorothy.
Thank you, Miss Maple. It's very kind of you.
Oh, well, I must leave you. You'll want to enjoy yourself with your friends. I had prepared a very small cold collation for myself. I was rather hoping that my nephew would join me, but since he is too busy, I do so find it dull eating all alone. Anyway, I must leave. I only called because I thought that Dorothy might be away this weekend, and I couldn't bear thinking of you up here all alone, Mildred. Still, have my cold collation.
There's no need for you to leave immediately, Joan. You could stay for a little while.
I couldn't possibly disturb you. I expect you'll be dining soon.
Yes, but it's no trouble.
I wouldn't want to intrude.
Well, you wouldn't be.
Oh, very well then, as you insist. I promise you, I have the appetite of a sparrow. You'll hardly notice I'm here.
You're staying for dinner?
Well, it would be quite churlish of me to refuse such a delightful invitation.
We'll be eating in 30 minutes, if you'll excuse me.
What a delightful young girl. Rather reminds me of myself at her age. Quite charming. If I remember correctly, you purchased your paintings from Pierre Marceau.
And never regretted it.
Oh, I do so love art.
Yes, it's...
A damn funny thing just happened. Oh, excuse me, old girl. I didn't realise you'd got company.
It's quite all right, Charles. This is Miss Mabel from the village. Colonel Charles Craddock.
Delighted, Colonel.
My pleasure, Mr.
We were just discussing the paintings, Charles.
What paintings, old girl?
With the paintings I bought from Pierre. Of course. You haven't seen them, have you? You had left Paris before Pierre showed us his collection.
What? Yeah, I suppose I must have. Yeah.
But in that case, you must give me your opinion. Charles considers himself something of an expert.
I never said that, Mildred. Never been able to afford much myself. Bought the odd one for the club, mind. Well, let's have a look.
Well,
Not bad, old girl. Not bad at all. Seen this chap's work before. Quite passable. Damn good copies.
copies?
Yes, you did know.
No. Yes, of course I did.
You were saying, Colonel, something funny had happened.
Was I? So I was, yes. Damn funny thing, yes. When we called off our walk, I brought my 12-bore and my old service revolver downstairs for young Elizabeth to inspect. The 12-bore's still there, but the revolver's gone missing.
Oh dear, how inconvenient.
Inconvenient? Damn dangerous, if you ask me. Blighter was still loaded. Could cause a serious accident.
Oh, perhaps it was one of the other guests playing a small joke on you, Colonel.
Yes. Maybe. Still, I can't see the funny side. Damned irresponsible meddling with a chap's private things. Could go off at any time. Not cricket.
No, definitely not. But such a relaxing game. My nephew's quite good, I believe. A slow left-arm bender, I think he's called.
Spinner.
Oh.
Used to bowl the odd googly myself. Anyway, must go. Things to do.
Oh, very disturbing for the Colonel. Have you known him a very long time? Mildred?
I'm sorry? You said something?
Well, I was asking about the Colonel. How long have you known him?
It seems like forever. Would you excuse me for a moment, please? I seem to have mislaid my book.
he cut a dashing figure in his younger days.
Oh, he certainly did, in his fine uniform. The girls used to flock around him. Oh, where did I put that book? Oh, you gave me quite a fright. So you're fond, John? Oh! Mildred! Mildred! Mildred!
What is it? What's happened?
Yeah. Oh, so unfortunate. I seem to bring people such awfully bad luck. Your aunt's been shot dead.
Exactly how long do you intend to keep us all waiting here, Constable? 30 minutes and absolutely nothing has happened.
I'm sure it won't be long, madam. The inspector is just familiarising himself with the layout of the house.
I was wondering, Constable, whether it might be one of the inspectors with whom I've had dealings on previous occasions.
I don't believe so, Miss Maple. In fact, he's an acting inspector. Seems to be a nasty flu strain down in Milton. Plain clothes are a bit thin on the ground.
Oh, dear. I do hope they get well quite soon. The influenza can be very inconveniencing.
So, in fact, we're being kept waiting by a sergeant. I don't see the necessity. We gave him our statements last night.
Calm down, old girl. Get their way by trying to rush things. I expect they're just following routine. Gotta have routine in the services. Lose your discipline if you don't.
Well, I don't care how long they keep us here, but just so long as they found out who killed poor Aunt Mildred. How can they?
Oh, come along, my dear. Sit yourself down. Dash rotten business. But we've got to keep the old stiff upper lip, eh?
She was just lying there with blood everywhere.
Oh, dear.
Perhaps you might like to fetch the young lady a drink, Mr. Bunn.
Yeah.
Very good, sir. As you like. There you are, Miss Dorothy.
Thank you.
Oh, that's the ticket, my dear. That'll soon calm you down.
Yes.
Try not to think about it. Best way.
Yes, I know. I'll be all right in a moment.
Oh, a bullet does such terrible damage to the skull at close range.
Oh, Miss Maple. Do you have to?
I'm terribly sorry. How thoughtless of me. Well, it's just that I've become so used to it all. The blood, the brain.
Sir, this is the lounge.
Haven't we kept waiting all this time just so that you can make such an obvious deduction, Sergeant?
Inspector Pratt. Yes, it was obvious, Mrs.
Craddock.
Mrs. Craddock. That's the way I work. Start with the unmistakable, then proceed to the unmistakable. Was it obvious to any of you that this elephant has recently been roasted? No, I thought not.
It's more usual for elephants to be poached, old boy.
It's quite a light up the proceedings.
And you are?
Charles Craddock. Colonel Charles Craddock, retired.
Oh, I see. The wife of Mrs. Craddock there. Is everyone assembled, Thompson?
Tompkins, sir.
Yes, quite.
They're all here, sir.
Good. Then I'll begin. I should listen very closely to this, Thompson. You might learn a few things. I mean, we're a bit more sophisticated down in Milton than out here in the sticks.
Sophisticated, yes, sir. Is that one F or two, sir?
Now, I've assembled you all here to ask you a few questions about the regrettable and unfortunate eventualities of yesterday.
Excuse me, Inspector, but we gave our statements to one of the gentlemen last night.
Yes, I realise that, but I wanted to see you all myself. A good detective can spot a villain a mile away at close range. You are?
Elizabeth. Elizabeth Hartley Trumpington.
What? We're in the very room where Mrs. Bagshot was so cruelly and brutally cut down last night. Now, what I would like...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Thompson.
Mrs. Bagshot wasn't actually in this room at the time, sir. She was in the dining room, by the door, sir.
I'm quite aware of that fact.
Sorry, sir.
As I was saying, the shot that so fatally killed Mrs. Bagshot was fired in this very room. So what I would like...
Excuse me, sir.
What is it now,
The
Thompson?
shot wasn't actually fired in this room either, sir. The murderer was standing in the hall and shot through the doorway.
Thank you very much. I really don't think we need to be such sticklebacks for detail, Thompson.
Thompson, sir.
The bullet which killed Mrs. Bagshot passed through this very room in which we are all assembled.
Oh, without doubt, sir.
Now, first of all, I would like you all to take up the positions in which you were in when that fatal occurrence occurred. Where are you going?
To do as you asked, Sergeant.
They were all elsewhere except for one, sir.
Then why did you assemble them in here?
You asked me to, sir. In the lounge, you said, sir.
You trying to make me look a fool, Thompson?
No, sir. That's the last thing you need.
You want to buck up your ideas if you want to get anywhere in the force. For the sake of briefness of brevity, I shall conduct the questioning in here. Right, now which one of you was in here alone when young Mrs. Bagshot was so cruelly cut down in a prime?
I fear that would be me, Inspector.
And you are?
Miss Maple.
Oh, I see. And your surname, Miss Mabel?
Maple is her surname, sir. She's somewhat of a celebrity in the village, I understand.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Thompson.
Tompkins, sir.
Yes, quite. And the reason for your celibacy, Miss Mabel?
Not that, Inspector. It's just that I've been involved with this kind of things many times before.
Murder?
Regrettably, yes, Inspector.
I see. Regrettable indeed. So you're the only person alone in here when the bullet passed through. Did you see anything?
No, Inspector, it was travelling rather too fast.
Just as I suspected.
I did hear her last words, however. She said, "So you're found." Then the shot was fired. I ran to her, but on examination, she was dead.
Oh, did she say anything?
No, Inspector.
Well, thank you, Miss Marbles.
It's my pleasure, Inspector. I only wish I could be more help. However, I hope you won't mind me saying so, but perhaps it would be less confusing for you if you were to call me Joan.
Colonel Craddock,
Yes, old boy?
it was your gun that perpetuated the crime to happen.
Yes, afraid so. Some bounder stole it from the hall.
Oh, yes. Very clumsy. Very clumsy indeed. Just checking the dining room. So, if we piece all that together, what do we got? Thompson?
I don't really know, sir. Mrs. Bagshot may have been trying to say, "So you found your gun," implying that she saw the colonel.
Exactly. I wondered how long it would take it. What do you say to that, Colonel?
Preposterous! I was in the lavatory down the hall.
Do you have any witnesses?
Of course I don't, man. chap doesn't take witnesses to the little boy's room. Not unless it's up to no good, of course.
So, according to the statements, your wife was in her room. What about you, Miss Hartley?
Trumpington. I was changing. Pierre had just carried my bags up for me.
Changing. So you were scantily clad in your underwear.
Quite naked, Inspector.
Oh, Pierre, our mysterious Frenchman. Bonjour, monsieur.
Bonjour, Inspector. Que vous dire mon heure?
Where was-vous when le chat was fired?
Pardon?
Pierre does speak excellent English, Inspector.
Oh, well, in that case, I shall conduct my inquiries in English for those who are not as affluent as I. Where were you when the shot bang was fired?
I was in my room.
I see. Oh, well, that leaves two unaccounted for. Your name?
Dorothy Foxton. I live here. I was in the kitchen when I heard the shot.
There is a connecting door from the kitchen to the dining room, sir.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that, Thompson.
Sorry, sir.
And what did you do?
Well, I ran into the hall and there was no one there, so I came in here and that's when we found Aunt.
Oh, thank you, Miss Foxtrot. Right, that just leaves you.
Bouncing, sir.
Yes, I had deducted that. The faithful family container. Where were you?
In the cellar, sir. Stock changing.
Oh, and where's the cellar?
Down there, sir.
Where's the door?
At the end of the hall, sir.
Oh, I see. You can show it to me later.
As you like, sir. It's just an ordinary door.
Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So, where does that leave us, Thompson?
7 possible suspects enough to corroborate the alibi between them, sir.
Now look here, Inspector. You can't think it was one of us. Respectable people, dash it.
You have a better theory?
Of course I do. Thought you'd work it out yourself. Burglar fella enters house, finds gun, spotted by Mildred, the blighter shoots her.
That is a possibility, Colonel. It's quite a strong possibility.
Mrs. Bagshot does seem to have recognized her killer, sir.
Which is why I dismissed it immediately. Now, why are you trying to cast suspicions elsewhere, Colonel? Keep a close eye on him, Thompson.
What are you suggesting? It's damn ridiculous.
So, where does that leave us? Where do we go from here?
I expect I know where you're leading, Inspector.
You do? Well, perhaps these good people don't share our little secret.
This is absolutely absurd. What is the point of keeping us cooped up here?
I expect the Inspector still has some questions for us.
Questions? That idiot wouldn't know a sensible question if one fell out of the sky and landed in his mouth.
That I would have to agree.
Why don't you do something, Charles? Charles! Charles!
What? Form alive, Charge! Oh, what's happened?
Nothing has happened. That's the whole point.
Oh, I must have not at all. Yeah, tricky moment there. Surrounded. French butlers, I think they were.
Why don't you do something?
I heard there's not much we could do. Completely outnumbered.
To get us out of here.
Oh,
To hours we've been waiting and nothing.
Well, I expect somebody will come along eventually. Due process and all that.
It's not as if we don't know who did it.
I didn't! Why won't anybody believe me?
Come along, Charles, you're going to make a phone call.
Am I? Who to?
The police. Someone in authority. They can't keep us here like this.
I think they probably can, actually.
Charles, I'm not arguing. We'll use the phone upstairs in private. Charles?
All right, come here, old girl.
And stop calling me old girl.
Oh, right. Sorry, old girl.
Well, Dorothy, seems your little scheme has come unglued.
What scheme?
To kill your aunt and take her money. The police suspect you.
They can't prove anything.
But I will give them all the evidence they need to hang you. I will tell them that I was at the top of the stairs. I saw you fire this shot.
That's not true.
But they will believe me. I will tell them that I did not come forward earlier because I was fond of you. But now I know my duty.
Why, Pierre?
You have caused me much misery. Your accusations about the paintings. But of course we could come to some sort of arrangement.
I wasn't serious about the paintings. I wouldn't have kept all the money. Well, just enough to reimburse my aunt. I wanted to frighten you. I didn't want you to go to prison.
Your motives are unimportant now.
Pierre, why are you...
Be quiet, Dorothy. It is your turn to listen. You are a worthy woman now. What I ask is simple. I want £20,000 and for you to forget about the paintings. And in return, I will forget about what I saw. It is as easy as that.
Really that simple?
Yes, but of course I knew you would listen to reason.
Fine. Now it's time you listen to me. I was wrong about you, Pierre. I should have gone to the police instead of playing games. And when they get back, I'll tell them everything.
But I will be forced to tell them what I saw.
Why should they believe you? A cheap con man? Ah, you're pathetic.
Damn. Damn and blast.
That sounded very English, Pierre.
It was about to get very Anglo-Saxon, and will you lay off with that ridiculous accent? It frightened me to death.
It gets to be an habit. Did it work then?
What do you think? She's going to tell the police everything.
Oh, you bleeding blew it!
I did everything as you said. We're going to have to get out of here fast.
Oh, yeah, what good would that do? They guess before we got 5 miles. I told you before, there's only one way out.
Well, we can't kill her.
Why not? Interfering bitch. You weren't bothered about Bagshot.
Mrs. Bagshot was different.
Why?
You're going soft, are you? Do you fancy her or something?
Of course not.
She's the only thing standing in our way. If she spills the beans, we're finished. And we got things perfect. I find the rich old fools, you relieve them of their money, and I spoil all that.
I don't know, I have to think.
Oh, we haven't got time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to join us later for afternoon tea, Mrs. Craddock.
It's so ghastly, Pierre. How could anybody do that to such a kind old lady? Ah, Miss Mabel, we were just talking about poor Mrs. Bagshot.
Tragic, my dear. Such a sad loss. I partly blame myself. I seem to bring about such misfortune. Oh, do sit down. I do so love a cosy chat.
I'm terribly sorry, Miss Mabel, but you will have to excuse us. We're about to take a walk in the grounds. St. Trustafari's being caught in here. Quite ghastly.
Oh, a walk. What a good idea. Would you mind very much if I joined you?
No, of course not. Delighted.
Of course, I don't walk quite as briskly as I used to. Oh, but the countryside's just so charming this time of year. My nephew often accompanies me. When he has the time.
How marvellous. Oh,
Oh, are you unwell, my dear?
thank you, Pierre. Just a slight fainting fit. Here, I get them off, and it'll pass in a moment. And then perhaps Pierre might help me to my room.
Yes, it would be my pleasure.
Mr. Most kind. I do think perhaps you should sit down.
As I wanted. I'm separating. It's the happiest day of my life.
Oh, I don't think you mean that, Mr. Bunting.
Oh, I do. I'm separating because... Why am I separating?
I really don't know, Mr. Bunting.
That's right. I do I. She's stuck up, she is. Hello, Frenchie. You want a drink?
No.
No. No. No. I'm rich. She's dead and I'm rich. That's what I'm separating.
There he is, Charles. Disgusting.
I'm rich.
Get him out of here, Charles, before he breaks something.
Do my best. Come on, old boy.
I don't like you.
Oh, good God, that's Napoleon brandy. Recognise it anywhere.
Does it matter?
Of course it matters. Damn waste. Come on, can you walk, man?
Of course I can walk anywhere.
Oh, I've never seen anything like that.
Oh, take him to his room, Charles, out of the way.
I'll make him a pot of tea. I always find it sobers me enormously.
Well, what do you think?
I suppose you're right.
Of course I'm right. Now, we're going to have to do it straight away. Now, if we're clever, we can blame that drunken old fool. The state he's in, we can get away with murder. Oh, Dorothy, how nice of you to join us.
Looks as though Bunting is enjoying himself. Perhaps you should have a last drink, Pierre. I don't think you'll get another for a long time.
Are you going away, Pierre? How exciting, somewhat exotic.
Well, I wouldn't describe it as exotic, would you, Pierre? Very cheap, though. There's something you ought to know about Pierre, Elizabeth. And I need a little insurance by telling someone.
Oh, really? How intriguing.
These paintings are forgeries. He cheated my aunt. Oh, he'll try it tonight. But I've written a full statement which is under lock and key in the safe. You weren't going to think of doing anything silly, were you, Pierre? Well, there's no way out, now that Elizabeth knows.
Oh, but this is ghastly. Pierre, is it true?
Oh, it's true, all right. I believe he's also sold paintings to your father, Elizabeth. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if they were forgeries, too. Your father should check.
That's the trick with people. Plenty of hot drinks down here. Ah, Elizabeth. Got the chap down there at last. Terrible thing is drink. Anyone can join anyone?
No, thank you.
Suit yourselves. One really shouldn't drink alone. Causes melancholy, you know. All damn quiet. Anything the matter?
Oh, no, Colonel, it's just so difficult to be enthusiastic about anything under the circumstances.
Yes, quite. Oh, Master, this wouldn't do you any harm. Well, I expect you'd know a thing or two about drinking, Mr. Land of the Vineyard and all that.
It is true. We have the finest wines in the world, but I believe that a good wine should be drunk in moderation to tantalize the palate.
Really? Strange attitude. Still, each his own, I suppose.
Well, if you excuse me, I have some business to attend to.
Don't stray too far, Pierre.
I won't, Dorothy.
Odd chap, something damn suspicious about him. Foreign. Eyes too close together.
Not what he seems, Colonel.
Really? Thought not. Still, suppose none of us are. Take me, for example. Been doing a lot of thinking since poor Mildred. Trying to make a change. Life's too short for pretending.
You won't pretend anything, Colonel. I never met anyone so honest.
Don't you believe it, my dear? It's all a lot of rot. I've wasted my life, never achieved a thing.
No,
adventure. Joined the army because I had to. Family tradition. Soon realising I wasn't up to it. Damn coward, you see. My father pulled a few strings and made sure that I spent the rest of my time sitting behind a desk.
All your stories about India.
I'd been there once, 2 weeks. Started making up little stories. Make myself more interesting. Told them so many times, I ended up believing them myself. Couldn't stop. Only Margaret knew the truth, and poor old Mildred, of course. So you see, I'm not all that I seem either. Nothing but a fake.
You're not, Colonel. I know a fake when I see one.
I knew this stuff would end up making me melancholy. Anyway, here's to Mildred, wherever she is.
Oh, Dorothy, I was wondering if you'd care to come up to my room. I have a present for you. Some perfume.
For me?
Well, I know we haven't always hit it off, but I'd so like for us to be friends. Would you care to come up?
Yeah, I
Oh, go on, you two get off. You don't want to hang about listening to an old butler like me. Go on, enjoy yourselves.
All right. I'm not an old duck. You meant a lot to my life.
Come on, Thompson. Oh, it's only a scratch. Good afternoon, all.
Do you mind if I sit down for a moment, sir? I'm feeling rather faint.
Faint? I don't know what's wrong with you, man. It's only a superficial flesh wound. I've had flea bites worse than that.
Right.
2 minutes and then you're back on the job.
Thank you, sir.
Don't know why you brought the chap back here. Should be resting. Don't want Granbury to set in.
Oh, I'm all right, sir. The inspector thought I ought it best if I kept it moving.
Pity you weren't moving a bit faster a couple of hours ago. He might have missed you.
I've had full weapons training, Colonel. I never miss.
Damn it all! I believe that you meant to shoot the poor blighter. Foolhardy, if you ask me.
Well, I don't ask you, and may I remind you that you are still under suspicion of being a suspect. Tread warily, sir.
Like him.
Come along, Dorothy. We'll be upstairs, Inspector.
Very good, miss.
I need to speak to you, Inspector. Hello, back to our house? Yes, yes, he is. It's for you, Inspector.
Oh, well, that'll be for me then. Who is it?
Deputy Chief Thompson.
Oh, you sure he wanted me? Did he mention my name? He might have wanted Thompson.
I think his exact words were, "He's the idiot who's in charge of the investigation there."
Oh, it is for you, sir.
Pratt. Oh, no, not you, sir. I'm Pratt. Yes. Very apt, sir. Hmm? Oh, well, it's really only a scratch, sir. Hmm? Yes, it was the same weapon. Complaint? But I'm close to an arrest, sir. About an hour. Oh, very good, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, hello? Well, perhaps if you got your fat bottom out of that chair once in a while. Oh, sorry, sir, I thought you'd gone.
He sounded on very good form, sir.
Good form? Oh, yes, he was very pleased with progress, sir. Yeah, unfortunately, it seems that someone thought fit to put in a complaint. Yeah, on your foot, Thompson. I want to get this wrapped up once and for all. Yeah. Yes, it appears that you're not doing your job properly, Thompson. Yeah. It wouldn't have been you, would it, Colonel, who thought fit to put in a complaint?
Well, as a matter of fact, old boy, I did make the odd call.
Aha! Keep a close watch on him, Thompson. Troublemaker.
No need to take it personally, you know. I wasn't casting aspersions. I simply said that things seem to be dragging a bit at this end, and could they speed things up yours?
Speed things up? Well, speed things up so fast that you'll wish. Well, you'll jolly well wish they were. What do you say to that, Colonel Haddock?
Oh, no. It's you again, Sergeant.
Inspector.
I thought by the phone call just now, you're probably down to constable by now.
Thompson, If the Colonel opens his mouth once more, book it.
Yes, sir. What for, sir?
Anything. Use your imagination. Disturbing the police. Loitering with a tent.
May I ask when we will be allowed to leave, Sergeant? I see nothing to be gained by our presence, and I'd rather like to get away before you shoot someone else.
Please, Mrs. Harry, don't push me any further. Oh, you can learn from this, Thompson. You come across so many ways of provocation, but you must always keep a cool, clear, empty head. Otherwise, you will cease to function as a highly tuned crime detection machine. Yeah, I've learnt that over 20 years on the course.
And how many constables have you shot in that time?
Book him, Thompson! Book him!
May I have a word now?
No, you may not. I'm in charge here.
Oh, Inspector, how pleasant. Oh, and Constable Tompkins, I do hope that your foot isn't too troublesome.
Oh, it's not too bad, thank you, Miss Maple. Rather throbbing, though.
I expect so. Bullet wounds can be very troublesome. I always recommend a poultice of cold herbal tea on any open wound.
Really? My Auntie Dora swears by boiled cabbage.
Do you mind, Thompson?
Sorry, sir.
Right, now I'd like
I'm
to
very interested in the cabbage preparation. Perhaps you could give me the details of it later, Constable.
Right, I like to continue.
Mind you, the price of vegetables can be so prohibitive at this time of year. Fortunately, I have a small vegetable plot.
Mrs. Marbles!
Yes, Inspector.
May I be allowed to carry on?
Well, of course, Inspector. I'd be most interested to hear the line of your next inquiry.
Thank you. Now I'd like to continue.
Before you recommence, Inspector, there's something that completely slipped my mind. I was wondering if I might inquire whether you and the constable would be joining us for afternoon tea. I phoned Mr. Coupling in the village. He's promised to deliver. Oh, he really does make exceedingly fine cream fancies.
Is that all?
Dear Inspector, I seem to have upset you. Perhaps you would have preferred an individual fruit tart.
Oh. I live in hope that we'll be finished long before tea. Now I would like to continue by trying another small experiment. Fetch the gun, Thompson.
You're not fetching that thing in here with me.
Rest assured, man, there will be no more incendiary incidents. I think Thompson has learnt his lesson.
Where is the gun, sir?
I don't know, I gave it to you.
I don't think so, sir. I was holding my foot at the time, if you recall, sir.
Oh, I can verify that, Inspector. I have a very good memory for detail.
Yeah, I must have left it in the dining room.
Very well, sir.
It occurred to me that the bullet that perpetrated this bog shot clean between the eyes was either an expert one or a lucky one.
I'll be lucky for her, old boy.
Had any of you ever handled a gun before?
Well, I have, obviously.
Obviously. Why is that so obvious, Colonel?
Well, I was in the army, of course.
Really? And why have you kept this such a closely guarded secret? What rank did you attain?
Oh, dash it all, man. It's general knowledge.
Ah, so you're a general, Colonel.
Oh, don't call to that. I was a colonel.
Then why did you try to deceive me? Why are you so anxious to confuse me with Red Haddock's, Colonel Herring?
It's not there, sir.
But it must be.
It's not.
That's careless if you ask me. Wasn't still loaded, was it?
Loaded? Of course not. What do you take me for, a fool?
I have a sense of foreboding. I fear we may all be in terrible danger, Inspector. There's no telling the workings of an unhinged mind.
Oh, nonsense. No danger. We're perfectly safe. Still, Well, I've got as far as I can here. I'll leave it to you, Thompson. I've got to get back to the station. Damn messages and paperwork.
Can I speak to you for a minute, sir?
What for? I'm a busy man, Thompson.
It's very important, sir. In private, if we may.
All wait out in the hall, if you please.
Oh,
We should pick up every lot and find where to go.
Get on with it, Thompson.
I think the killer may have played into our hands, sir.
Oh, quite, Thompson. A madman on the rampage with a gun. Oh, yes. We've got him right where he wants us.
I think you should send them all to their rooms, sir. Then you and I should go to search their rooms.
Oh, very good, Thompson. So I walk into the lion's burrow and find a killer with a gun at my head.
God willing, sir. It's my fault, sir, that whoever has a gun will panic and dispose of it. Most probably out of their window. All the rooms face the front drive. I was thinking of taking a hobble out there, sir.
What for?
To see where the gun comes from, sir.
Oh, well, it has its possibilities, I suppose. You check the rooms and I'll keep a lookout. We don't want you getting your foot cold. Well, up you go, Tompkins.
Thompson, sir. Oh, make your way to your room, please. Straight away. Thank you.
This better work, man.
Inspector!
Oh, Mrs. Boxhunt!
Last I have you alone, Inspector.
Yes.
I've got a confession to make, a score to settle. It's time for retribution!
Oh, well, it's really not necessary. I mean, we could do a deal.
What sort of a deal?
Well, anything you like. I mean, you could just walk out of here and I won't say a word. I'll forget I ever saw you. You can borrow the car if you like.
No, Inspector, I must finish it now!
Oh, no, please, Miss Boxhead, I'm just a poor copper trying to get rid of a retirement. Oh, I mean, I wouldn't hurt a fly. Think of my family. The two little brats. I won't tell anyone that you're the killer.
But I'm not the killer! I have some extra information for you. Excuse me, but I find this all too upsetting.
Not the murderer?
No, Inspector!
Oh, quite so. Yeah, I was kind of worried about this rather nasty stain you've got on the carpet here. Yeah, I think a little warm water should do the trick. Right, now about the other business. Does this information concern the identity of the brutal killer and murderer?
Well, no, not exactly.
Oh, that can wait. I mean, I've got little time. Even as I speak, I'm in the middle of a daring plan to flush out the miscreants.
But I have some very
Oh, I'm
important
sure that your
information.
information can wait for at least 5 minutes.
Yes, I suppose so. 5 minutes. Oh, I am sorry I frightened you earlier.
Right? Oh, don't be deceived, Mrs. Boxhole. No, it was just a clever ploy to draw you into making you run for it. Oh, I think I can eliminate you from our further inquiries. Honey Thompson, ready or not?
He's trying to kill
Thompson! Thompson! Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So you all maintain that when the shots were fired, you were in your rooms?
Oh, except for me, old boy. I nipped outside for a spot of air.
Oh, and me, sir. I was in the downstairs lavatory.
Yes, I realise that, Thompson. It's a pity you didn't get out of there a bit quicker.
It would have been, sir, but it was rather difficult. As I walked through the door, I walked into the colonel, who was holding the gun in the firing position. I thought my number was up.
What number?
It's just a saying, sir.
Can you explain, Colonel?
Oh, quite simple, really. The same as thought I'd had it. Had my chip.
No, why you had the gun?
Oh, I'm sorry, old boy. I get you now. I rushed in, spotted the gun lying there, and picked it up.
And that's when I saw him, sir.
I'm quite aware of that fact, Thompson.
Sorry, sir. Just trying to clarify the events.
If I want clarity, I'll ask for it. I usually manage without. And did you see anybody else, Colonel?
Well, they were all on the stairs, with the exception of the butler chap.
It all happened so quickly, Inspector. Suddenly we were there on the stairs. I remember calling to Mrs. Craddock.
Oh, and do you recall what you called when you were calling?
Quite difficult. I think it was, there's another one gone. Oh, such a tragedy. If you hadn't mislaid the gun, Inspector.
You were in your bedroom in the basement, Butler Bumstead.
I didn't hear anything, sir. I think I must have caught something.
Too much drink, if you ask me.
And you didn't hear the shots?
Didn't hear anything, your lordship. I must have dropped off.
Dropped off what?
He was virtually unconscious on his bed when I checked on him, sir.
I think it must be the flu, sir. May I be excused?
What for?
It's rather...
Here's the phone.
Oh, please, don't let me worry you. I've just got a hole in the foot. What house? Miss Tompkins? Oh, yes, sir. Feeling a little bit better, thank you, sir. The sergeant? Certainly. It's you, Sergeant. The deputy chief constable.
Praxer. Yes, I'm afraid so, sir. But it wasn't exactly under my nose, sir. No. Yes, sir, the same weapon. Well, immediately. Oh, but, sir. Oh, very good, sir.
Didn't sound too pleased, Sarge.
No, Thompson, he wasn't. You're going to be in very hot water over this. Right. Now, I want to clear this up once and for all. No, I've got very little time. I want it back at the station. Another important investigation.
But we won't detain you then, old boy.
Not so fast, Colonel. Now, there's been one thing that's been preying on my mind. Mrs. Marbles, you said that just before Mrs. Bogshot was shot, she went into the dining room looking for a book.
Yes, Inspector.
Right. Well, I've taken the trouble to interrogate the bookcase. And there was one book that caught my eye, separate from the rest. It is in this book, I believe, that the answer to our mystery lies. The art of macrame. Does any of that mean anything to anyone? Oh, you disappoint me. You know, I felt sure that this book held the key. Ah, the key. If I'm not mistaken, this key holds the key. I guess I would say it is the key to the front door.
I think you'll find it's a safe key, Inspector.
But of course, Mrs. Mabels, why should I suspect anything danger from a mere key?
No, Inspector. The key to the safe.
Safe? Precisely what I was seeking. Now, well, if you will bear with me for a moment, I shall unlock the proverbial panda's box. safe, Thompson?
Don't know, Sarge.
I believe I know, Inspector, if you allow me the honor of assisting you.
Oh, thank you, Monsieur. Pity you didn't show that same sort of initiative, Thompson.
I believe you'll find the contents of this safe unimportant, Inspector. I believe I know the identity of the murderer.
You do?
I've come across many similar cases, and this particular one seems to follow a typical pattern.
Oh, quite so. Continue, Mrs. Marbles. Yeah, I suspect that your suspicion will confirm the suspicion I already suspect.
I believe that Mrs. Bagshot had a half-brother. A half-brother of Romanian nationality. Rejected by the family, he took refuge in Albania, where he fell into dubious company. He had an illegitimate daughter by the name of Elena. Scorned and rejected by the family for years, they plotted to gain revenge and gain a fortune. It is my belief that Mr. Bunting is that man, and Elizabeth is his daughter. Monstrous! You can't possibly believe that.
Oh, but I do. As it happens, it is a line of investigation I also have been following. Would you care to reveal your evidence, Mrs. Marbles?
Well, I'm afraid that's not possible, Inspector.
Oh, come now. Don't be so modest.
But I have none.
Huh?
I was merely postulating, Inspector. Generally, on my revelations, the murderer breaks down and confesses. Unfortunately, on this occasion, I seem to have failed.
You mean you made it up?
Well, exactly, Inspector. I thought it was worth a try.
Mrs. Marbles, do you realise the seriousness of your rash pastel? Oh, I could charge you with something really serious indeed.
Excuse me, Inspector. I have some unfortunate news. The safe was empty except for a small amount of money, a trifle.
Oh, pity I had high hopes. Well, better hold on to this, it might be important.
No copy of the will, I suppose?
No. I think we've covered all the possibilities of the will, Thompson.
But things have changed, sir. The Colonel now inherits the entire estate.
He does? You do?
Well, so proceed, old boy.
What? Charles, what are you saying?
Oh, no doubt you're surprised, but then you didn't know about the long-standing affair between your husband and the late Mrs. Bogshot.
Affair with Mildred? I can assure you, Sergeant, that my husband has had no affairs. Not even with me. Tell it, Charles.
Afraid I can't, old girl. It's true.
Don't. Charles, what are you saying?
Oh, really, Inspector, this is too much. I gave you information in the strictest confidence.
Regrettable, but unfortunate. I mean, another crime has been perpetuated. Now, after a great many years, your husband has had an affair with, had a lustful, sinful, pestilent affair with Mrs. Bogshot. As a token of her esteem, she made certain provisions in her will. After the death of Mrs. Foxhole, Colonel Coupling became major beneficiary.
Oh, how could you do it, Charles? How could you do it to me?
I think that wraps up the investigation.
Are you sure, Sarge?
No doubt. Yes. Major beneficiary came here with the express intention of killing the two ladies of the house. He did so with ruthless cunning. Yes, expecting to outwit the forces of the law. Unfortunately, he did not count on me. I think not. You were close to the scene of the crime on both occasions. Just before Mrs. Bogshot shot was shot, she said, "So you found." As I deducted at the time, she was about to say the gun which you were holding.
Actually, I deduced that, Sarge.
Stop trying to be clever, Thompson. Yeah. Mrs. Foxhole's last words were, "He is trying to kill me." He, you again, Major. Neither Butler Bumsting or Mr. Marcellides had anything to gain from her death. Sergeant Thompson. Yes, you once accused me of incompetence, Major. Were the first to cast nasturtiums against me. Well, perhaps now you will see how incompetent I really am.
My husband may be an adulterer, but you're very wrong about what he said.
Oh, I think not. I'm really wrong.
My husband wasn't the only man with a motive for killing Dorothy. Ask Pierre, or perhaps I should say Peter. When my husband was phoning your superior, I came downstairs. I overheard Pierre and Elizabeth talking about Dorothy. She had some kind of evidence against them. They were planning to kill her.
What a ridiculous suggestion! How could you say such a thing?
This is preposterous. The woman's obviously deranged. She's trying to protect her husband.
And you need not continue with those phony accents. He is